Hello and welcome to Craft Habits Beginner Embroidery videos. I'm just going to do some quick simple stitches today, and hopefully this will help go along with our embroidery booklet and make things more clear for you. Also, I hope you can come to one of our classes because they're fun and they're the best way to learn. So we're going to start with running stitch. This is the most basic stitch. If you've ever hand mended something, you've done running stitch. Starts like this. We'll start with our needle threaded. We'll want to have a short tail on one side and a long tail on the other side. I like to put a little knot in the end. You won't always have to do this, but when you start with a knot, it's just easier. And then I've got a line. If you have an embroidery pattern, you'll have all sorts of lines on it, so just pick one. We always start from behind, from the back. So find a spot on your line and come up with your needle and pull. When you pull, make sure you're pinching both pieces of these. If you don't pinch them both, then when you pull really hard, you will unthread your needle. You don't want that. So pull until your knot is nice and snug against the back of your fabric. Then for running stitch, you just pick a distance you want your stitch length to be. It can be very long. It can be very short. I like to do about, I don't know, I guess that's a 1/4 inch or so. Depending on what I'm working on, I make it longer or shorter. But for teaching, a 1/4 of an inch is good. So you push down, pull through, and make a nice snug little stitch. Then you're going to come up again from behind. You can leave a little bit of a space. Again, how much space you leave is up to you. Don't worry about getting it too close, because the back stitch that's coming up next, we're going to get really close together. So running stitch should be kind of like a dashed dotted line when you're finished. You can make your stitches all the same width, so it's very uniform, or you can switch it up and do long stitches and short stitches. Once you graduate away from stitching straight lines, you'll want to make it different, because when you go around curves and corners, you'll need to make different length stitches. But this is running stitch. It's very basic. It's just up and down. Leave whatever amount of space in between the stitches you want. And you keep going until you're done with it. I'm going to flip this hoop over and show you a way to tie off. So you come to the back of your hoop, you can find the last stitch you made, slide your needle right under there, push it, pull until you've got a bit of a loop left on the back of your fabric, slip your needle through there, and pull that tight. And you can go one more time. You go through this spot you've made. You've got a loop there. You go through that again. Pull that tight. And you've got a knot in the back of your fabric. And then you can use your scissors to come in and cut. Just like that. And that is secure. It's going to hold. The back is going to look like a mess, but the front is going to look really nice. So that is our running stitch, and we're going to move on to the back stitch because it's very similar, but it's cooler. Let me move this out of the way. Got another needle threaded up. It's got a long tail with a knot at the end, and the shorter half of the tail come off the needle. So again, I'm going to start from behind, so that my knot is hidden and up against the back. I'm going to start with a single running stitch, just like before. And this time when I come up, I'm going to leave a space about the same length here as my stitch length there. Doesn't have to be exact, just about that much. And now this is what makes it back stitch. I'm going to put my needle back through the hole that last stitch went down in. So I push my needle through there. So now I've got this nice unbroken line. So my next stitch comes up again about a stitch length, stitch distance away from the previous one. And this needle is going to go down through that hole. And carry on. This is another one where you can choose whether you're going to make a really large stitch length or a small one. You can change it as you go. Again, if you're following a printed pattern, And you've got lines on your fabric. If you're going around curves, if you've got different shapes you're working with, you're going to want to change up how wide your stitch length is to work those curves. But with a straight line, you can just experiment. I'll do one more back stitch and I'll show you that tying off method again at the back of the fabric. So you can see here I've got pretty much this unbroken line. Obviously it's got some texture to it, but when you look at it from a distance, it's an unbroken line, whereas our running stitch is more of a dotted line. Alright, so here's the back of the piece again. To tie this off, I'm going to go under the floss from the previous stitch. When I've got this loop here, put my needle through the loop, pull tight. To make a knot, I like to have 2 knots, so I'm going to go under another, there's the same stitch again. When I have a loop there, pull that through and tie it off. Alright, I'm going to wait for that neighborhood lawnmower to finish and make another video for the next set of stitches.